Hey folks, Fernando doing a video for the Modern Survivalist, and I thought about doing a video regarding how to secure some of your assets in case things turn ugly after the election. This is something I've done for my Spanish channel as well. It's called SupervivienciaModerna. I've got over 140,000 subscribers over there if you want to go check it out and practice your Spanish. But this is something that was asked over there because, the economy in Latin America is pretty shaky, especially right now, especially in Argentina. People have this question about how is it that I make sure that I conserve and save some of my savings, my assets. And well, given everything going on in the United States, this is something I get asked in my English channel as well. So here it goes. First of all, still have some of your cash. In Argentina, it would be typical for people to try to save in US dollars because that is so much more stable than the local economy. Same for many other countries. So especially during the first period, cash is very much king, especially when ATMs run dry, people are looking for money, maybe not being accepted credit cards anymore in many stores. There may be a time in which that happens. And guys, keep in mind, everything that I'm going to be explaining here, I've done it more than enough times so as to be sure about it. I've actually secured assets using these same tools that I'm describing here, and I've seen how these things retain value while other things lose it. So it's not just my guesstimation as of what works or what doesn't. This has worked for me, it has worked for a lot of other people. So for most people in Argentina, we're talking millions of people, they will try to save in US dollars. Why? Because it's a lot more stable than their local peso, which devaluates like 50, 100% per year. So you may want to also consider having some other currencies as well in case the US gets hit particularly bad after the elections. Then some other currencies will retain the value. There's of course this idea that, well, if something bad happens in US, everything, it depends on exactly what is going on. If it's something more US focused, it is very much the possibility that the euro retains its value just in the same way like in Argentina and other South American countries, local economies go to hell, but US dollars retain its value. With what happened last week, just as soon as Trump tested positive for COVID, one of the things we saw is the dollar dropped like 10% almost, and one of those things that was very noticeable, very visible, dropping 10% and this retaining its value. So I'm very much of this idea of keeping eggs in different baskets. You may want to have some in some other currencies, and this is a lot more solid so as to buy, sell without losing a lot of money, which will happen with precious metals. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you change a few bucks, if you change 200, 300, 1,000 US dollars to euros, the moment you exchange that again, you're pretty much going to be getting the same thing, except for a very small premium. It's nowhere near as big of a hit as you get when you sell precious metals. Talking about precious metals, this is also something you may want to get because unlike these two, these are fiat currencies, this is actually precious metal. It has its value beyond whatever institution you may think of. Gold, silver, my advice is going, especially in US where you guys are, my advice is to go with silver eagles. This is definitely the safest way to invest. Gold as well. The advantage of gold is, as you see here, it's a lot more compact, just makes more sense, especially when you're mobile. You want to have something that's more compact for moving around. Of course, don't forget about food, okay? Food is, it's beyond economy. It's just a matter of basic preparedness. You need food so as to survive. But having said that, I always keep this in hand because I always remember the case of Venezuela where this is worth a couple dollars. Maybe in your Walmart this is 50 cents, but or a buck or whatever, but this is more expensive in a place like Venezuela because it's a lot more rare and more of a precious item. And you're gonna be eating anyway, and the more food you have pre-inflation or pre-economic crisis, you're gonna be saving money as well, and it may not even be available. So food is always one of those things, especially with coronavirus, you want to have just in case. Add more if you already have it. Before I forget, none of this is actually useful if you don't have the knowledge just to be prepared for this. I always mention my book, Street Survival Skills, especially for stuff regarding economic crisis. My first book, Surviving the Economic Collapse, these are available in Amazon, following the link below. Seriously, if you don't know how to prepare for this sort of thing, it really doesn't matter if you have certain items. It's just about knowing what you're likely to face when things turn a little bit ugly. Ammunition would be one of those things that also, especially right now, you try to find 9mm, it is rare like hen's teeth. You're not going to be finding a lot of it, and when you find it, it's going to be expensive. Buckshot, someone was mentioning in one of the previous videos we did with Matt Bracken that a friend of his bought a shotgun, a double-barrel shotgun, and when he tried to buy ammunition in that same store, they just gave him birdshot because they didn't have any buckshot nor slugs. So yeah, have proper ammunition for that type of thing. Common calibers are usually ones that go out of stock first. Have enough of that. Right now, stocking up on that, it's going to be a little bit harder, but keep it in mind nonetheless. Then remember, magazines for your firearms, speed loaders for your revolvers, and ammo. You just cannot have enough of that, especially if you're going to be using it yourself no matter what. I'm not going to be putting it in the same league as food, because food for me is more important. Okay, I can do lots of other things. If I have a limited amount of ammunition, I can find ways of getting by, but without food, you're not going to be getting by. So remember that food is crucial. Then in terms of firearms, one of the things I've learned is that guns keep their value quite nicely. Besides being useful tools, may end up saving your life. But besides that, if you want to invest, and I try to use the word invest very carefully, investment would be something that generates income for you. So for example, real estate, sure, that's an investment. You rent it, you get money out of it. You know, one of the things you certainly could put some money into is real estate. In this kind of situations, one of those things where it may keep its value. Of course, especially right now with the pandemic, a lot of people are not paying the rent. They cannot be kicked out, because in many places there is some level of protection for people going through tough times. So you may be stuck with something that's not creating income. But in face of devaluation, in face of an economic collapse, real estate property is something that is considered as something of a safety net, because no matter what happens, you have that chunk of land, you have those bricks. That's like, you know, gold, silver, something solid, tangible that you can actually get hold of, and it's gonna be keeping somewhat its value, give or take, right? In terms of firearms, the thing with a gun like this, with a Glock pistol, everyone wants to buy a Glock. You know, I could talk about very nice guns like my Python here. It's a great gun. It's a fantastic piece. It has a lot of value. But if you want to move this fast, forget about it. You're not going to be selling a Python or some premium gun nearly as fast as a Glock. A Glock is something that is almost like this. It's almost like precious metals. If you want to invest or you want to secure some of your savings, you already have a gun, get yourself a couple more Glocks, keep them new in box as they are. I'm telling you, a couple years down the road, you're going to be selling those for pretty much the same thing. If you buy them from, surplus from some police department or whatever, and you pay very little for those, just keep them aside, and that you can really flip very quickly. It is just almost like cash, not quite, but very close to that. And I mean, being honest, you're going to be losing maybe less money than when you're selling precious metals. So that's one of the advantages of a firearm. And besides that, when things are getting ugly out there, people want to buy guns. That's simply the way it is. You're seeing it right now. So I think I covered almost everything. Finally, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. This is one of those things that immediately I get a bunch of comments from two kinds of people. First of all, people that are trying to spam the hell out of my channel, trying to promote their own shady Bitcoin website or whatever, you know, I immediately delete those because I have no interest in promoting anyone that's just grabbing hold of the comment section. So I get a lot of those, and I also get a lot of people that have no idea what cryptocurrency is. They tell me that it's a scam, that it's not real, that their friend of a friend lost access to their Bitcoin. Look, you cannot lose access to your Bitcoin if you do things right. If you have your own wallet that you control, you just have those keys, and no one is going to be taking that away from you. It has happened that people bought Bitcoin, but it was actually being held by someone else, and that someone else, it's like if you, listen guys, cryptocurrency is very difficult to explain. I have a couple of videos trying to explain that, so you may want to check my videos regarding cryptocurrency. But this is the same thing as, for example, this ounce of silver. Do I hold it right now? Yes. These Bitcoins, do I hold them right now? Yes, absolutely. I have my Bitcoins here. No one can take them away from me any more than they can take this ounce of silver. Now, if I have this ounce of silver, not in my own hand, but in some vault from some weird website that is holding the silver for me, one day that website shuts down and they take my silver, I lost it. Same way if someone is holding my Bitcoin for me. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you buy, you have it in your own wallet, not in some other's website or some other business's wallet or whatever. Okay, I spent years wondering about Bitcoin, and only then, years later, understanding it enough so as to put a little bit of money in it. I wish I had done it sooner. It was still good enough for me, and I feel very strongly about recommending Bitcoin to our people, and especially using Coinbase, which is the one I've used for many years now for my own Bitcoin, and you'll find the link for that there, which has an affiliate program where if you buy if you buy $100 of Bitcoin, you get 110 bucks, and I get also 10% for bringing the person to Coinbase. Coinbase is the biggest Bitcoin and cryptocurrency business you have anywhere, so it's the biggest, safest place for you to buy Bitcoin. You can check that with Googling, searching. You will find that it's actually what I'm explaining. Coinbase is the biggest one and the safest one, and the one that gives you the less trouble when buying and paying less of a premium, and it's less shady, of course, and meeting with some stranger in a cafe and buying Bitcoin from some weirdo. So if you want to start getting a little bit into all of this, Coinbase is the best way to go. And then you can get yourself one of these hardware wallets so as to move those Bitcoins from your cell phone, from whatever, or you can make your own paper wallet, which is also very, very secure. A whole world of information there, but just touching on some of the things that I feel are some of the best ways of diversifying and having a little bit in different baskets so as to secure your assets as best as possible, right? Of course, if you're going to be keeping money in the bank, by all means, if you can have it in an account in some other country and moving depending on how things are looking, by all means. In general, when things go wrong very fast, banks usually, like it happened to us in Argentina, like I wrote about in my book, close the doors. It happened in other countries as well, so it's not an exception. It is actually more of a norm rather than an exception. When things go very wrong in a country in terms of the economy, banks close doors, freeze accounts, and screw everyone as they devalue the currency. That's simply the way it is. This is the kind of thing that gives you a lot of leverage if you do it in time. Okay, folks, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. See you on our next video. Have an awesome day.